This week's episode, we are talking about how to find a good mastermind group or partner. Now, for me, I have three masterminds that I'm part of. One is every Monday morning at 7 a.m. My second one is once a month, the first Wednesday of every month. And the third one is every Thursday during lunchtime. Now, I'll kind of give you a brief overview of the different groups and what they bring to me, what I bring to them differently, because they're all completely different. So the first one, I meet with myself and two other gentlemen every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Now, we used to meet at Starbucks, have some breakfast, chit chat about our businesses, but of course, with COVID, that's transitioned to Zoom. Then my other mastermind group is every Thursday at lunchtime. And that group, we used to, again, meet together for lunch every week, but again, shifted to Zoom. And that group has really, it started out as a networking group, but has really transformed itself into a mastermind, as well as it's gotten smaller because when COVID happened, there was a lot of people that were into Zoom that just really didn't want to be part of it. So as that group has changed and evolved, it's gotten much smaller because a lot of people dropped off because we were doing Zoom consistently every week. And honestly, I think people found excuses to not come. So it shrunk down to a really core group of people, which in my opinion is way better because it's also moved into more of a mastermind specifically about digging deep into each other's businesses, which is much easier to do with a smaller group of people. Then my third group meets once a month. It's just a group of us girls from Brand Builders Group. If you followed along on my journey, you know that I am part of that group of people that helps people build their personal brands, which is who helped build my personal brand. So these are ladies that I have met through, going to Nashville for their courses, I've met virtually, just met throughout this journey, and it's been amazing. So what's different about that group of girls is that we are now doing a Clubhouse once a week, every Thursday morning at 6 a.m., which has been awesome because as you know, with any social media, it's tough at first. You don't know what you're doing. You're stumbling, you're working through it. And so because Clubhouse is brand new, it's never been done before, we decided to jump on and support each other and just go for it. So that's a really cool thing that we're doing. We also have been supporting each other in our brand building journey because as you know, businesses evolve, things change. And so they have been really supportive and give a unique perspective because they are all over the US. So that's what's kind of cool about them too, is its perspective from different areas of the country, completely different businesses than mine, but we're still all on the same journey. So those are the three groups that I'm part of. Each of them brings something completely different to me. I bring something completely different to the group, but I value those mastermind groups. Now, I know that there are mastermind groups where you can pay boatloads of money for it, which is great. I think that there's something to be said to having a mastermind that you're paying into because people are going to definitely have more skin in the game. Let's be honest. If you're paying a boatload of cash for something, you are definitely going to be in it to win it. And you are going to be there every week showing up, whether you want to or not, because you have laid down your hard-earned money for it. But if you are looking to start something similar, I get a lot of requests from people about, hey, can I jump into your masterminds? Are they open? And the thing that you want to keep in mind too is when you're looking for a mastermind, you have to first determine what you need. So like I mentioned, my Thursday lunch group, that has evolved as COVID has, lasted, well, let's be honest, it'll be a year next month. So that one has evolved. It's kind of morphed into what we needed it to be. But when you're out looking for masterminds, of course, you want to find out, number one, does it cost money? And if it does, how much? Now, if it does cost money, what do you get for your money? Is it a weekly mastermind? How often does it meet? I think that's a good question to ask because you want to be realistic with your schedule. Now that everything's Zoom, I feel like you're able to take on a little bit more, but you want to be cautious because you want to make sure that you're getting good value out of that group. And also for masterminds that are being paid for, is there a money back guarantee? Are you allowed to sit in maybe once or twice before you're evaluated if you're allowed to join, make application, that sort of thing. So you can test it out, see who are the other members of the group. Are they people that are different businesses than yours, same businesses as yours? And if they are the same, you want to visit with those people and make sure that they're of the same mentality as you are. Now, a couple of the groups that I am in, there are insurance professionals in, but we have a professional courtesy to each other. We do refer business to each other, but we also have a professional courtesy in that if someone is referring business to me for the same product line, maybe they just couldn't offer them life insurance because the company that they have doesn't do life insurance or can't help that specific level of customer with life insurance, then they would refer it to me. But I would not turn around and then sell them a home policy. Not that I could because I don't have that license, but just as an example, I wouldn't turn around and sell them something that the person that referred them to me could sell them. That person is referred back, and then that way the person that referred the person to me still gets that business. Now, I know that was probably super confusing. You're like, say what? The bottom line is that if someone refers business to you for a product that you sell, but the other person doesn't, but then throughout that conversation of you talking with the client, they're like, hey, and I also need this. It is your responsibility to refer that client back to the person that referred it. So that way they can be helped by the original referrer. The other thing that you want to check too is there a time commitment? Does it take a year commitment? I think is one thing. You want to make sure that not only when you're looking at your schedule, that you can make the commitment as well. One thing that frustrates me with sometimes mastermind groups is when people don't show up, because we need every single person's opinion. The benefit of having a mastermind is so that everyone can share their opinion, because there have been times that people have, I've brought a problem to the group. They have given me feedback, given me thoughts, and it is things that I would have never thought about, or maybe looking at my business in a different way. Like, I'm so entrenched in my business that it's hard to see the forest through the trees, because, most businesses have very specific lingo. For example, insurance, very specific lingo. And sometimes I forget that not everybody speaks the language that I do. Also, too, like, I might call something a monthly premium and people are like, what is that? And I'm like, what's the cost of the plan every month? And they're like, oh, okay. Like, things that are as simple as that, you might not realize that because you are head down in your business, but those are things that can make a huge difference. Another one, especially when it comes to insurance, there's so much jargon. And when you've worked in this business for almost 20 years, you forget that people don't talk like that, or they might not realize what you're talking about. So making sure that different industries, different, just different walks of life, to be honest. You want people that are different than you. I mean, it's great to have people that you get along really well with. And I definitely have made friendships in these mastermind groups. There are so many people that I consider friends, but they're different than me. And I want them to be different. And I also want an environment where people are honest. I want something that people are kind, but are also honest with me about, hey, I think that's a really good idea, or hey, I think that idea sucks, and here's why. We can respectfully disagree, but definitely I want feedback. I mean, that's the most important part of being in a mastermind, in my opinion, is that we need feedback. That's why you're there. And also, sometimes we give as well as receive tough love from people, because you want someone to tell you that they don't think your idea is good. And here's the reason why, not just because you suck, but because there's a specific reason of why they think that idea won't work, or maybe it needs to be flipped on its head, or maybe needs to be turned around and might be a better way to look at something versus just saying that idea sucks. With the 3 groups that I have, they are different times of the week, different times of the month. Some are monthly, some are weekly. I know somebody who is pretty big on social media, and she has a daily group of accountability. So it really depends on what you need, and when you go out looking for what you need, what's out there. Looking to make sure that a mastermind group is not only going to fit your needs, the the types of people, the amount of people, and also the format, because the format you want to make sure that you have time to talk about your idea. Now, my weekly group, it used to be one person would do a presentation. We'd go around the table. We'd say thank yous for any referrals. We would talk a little bit about our business, what our wins were that week, things like that. But it's really shifted to, what are you struggling with? What's your problem? What are you working on that you need support in? What's a goal that you need us to push you on? And most importantly, the accountability. So you guys know that I plan quarterly. It's a big deal to me. It's something that I've done for a very long time, but those goals are big. And those goals, yes, I push myself, but sometimes it's even better to have someone pushing behind you too. You know that if someone is going to ask you every week, hey, where are you at with that goal? It's going to push you harder. I mean, anytime you have accountability, it just makes a huge difference. So those are a couple things that when you are looking for a mastermind group, if you're looking for someone to mastermind with you, sometimes having just one person can be really great. And sometimes it can be not so great. Because here's the thing, if that person is not committed to the group as much as you are, and you're like, okay, we're going to meet every Tuesday at 8 a.m. We're going to talk about, we're going to run through our goals, any problems that we're struggling with. But if that one other person isn't committed to you, or gets sick, or their kids get sick, or maybe it's just not the right time for you. It started out as the right time for them, but now things have shifted and it's not the right time, and you need to adjust that. You want to make sure that that one person is just as committed as you are, because it can be tough when they're not, and you're like, I really need to talk about this thing with someone, but that someone isn't available because they slept in, or their kids were sick, or whatever happens. I mean, life happens. So you want to make sure when you're choosing, is it either a group or a person? And I find that sometimes choosing strangers is better, because when it's your friends, no, they don't want to hurt your feelings. They love you. They care about you. And you want to make sure that this person or persons is someone that's going to be honest with you and say, hey, I don't think that's the best idea, or here's how you can turn it around. Having a mastermind group of people that just tell you how awesome you are is not effective. That's not what you need in your life. You can go on social media and get that. You don't need that from these groups of people. So these groups are out there. You can find one. You can ask around any business associates. Sometimes masterminds will evolve out of larger groups of people. So like Brand Builders Group, that is just a group of just a couple of us girls that get together once a month because we need each other, and getting together, once every quarter or once a year even at Brand Builders events just wasn't enough for us because we love each other. So make sure that it's people that you like, people that you respect. I also look for people that are levels above me, people that I want to aspire to be. That's the groups that I want to be involved in, because a rising tide raises all ships. So keep that in mind, is that you don't necessarily want to be the person at the top of the totem pole. You want to be towards the bottom or the middle even, because that way the person that's ahead of you can help you and say, hey, listen, I was there a year ago. Have you given any thought to this? Have you thought that what's going to be your response when this happens? I mean, that happened to me in my mastermind group with the two gentlemen. They said to me, hey, listen, are you prepared for the dam to break? When you get this rush of customers and it's a tidal wave of people, are you prepared? Are your systems prepared? Because if you are not, you're going to drown and you're going to go under. And by the time you come to the surface, you've already lost all those customers. So making sure that my systems and processes were in place before open enrollment was huge in the fact that we were successful, was because I had used all their previous years worth of business knowledge to make sure that I was prepared for something that honestly I'd never done before. I didn't know what to expect, but they prepared me as best as they could for that to happen. And it did. The dam did break. We got flooded with tons of people, but it was amazing because we were ready for it. And had I not had that conversation with them and talked about what I was struggling with, what was coming up, what was happening, they wouldn't have given me that advice. And honestly, I can't say that it would have been as successful as it was. So make sure that you look for a mastermind group of people that you care about, that you can give your 2 cents, for lack of a better word, your opinions, what you can offer to the group is a good fit for you. It will be huge for your business.